I'm sorry it was a bit delayed from last night. Unfortunately, I had some health issues, so we're bringing it in tonight and we'll be pulling through. This week's request has been a request to do a Stranger Things drawing. And we're going to get into the details as that. And this also has a paid advertisement. It is our sponsorship with Built Bar. If you like protein bars, if you like candy bars, then the best solution may actually be a Built Bar. And I'll get into that at the end of the video. Till then, let's go on over to our drawing. Okay, and this week we have a request from Boy3457 on DeviantArt, who wanted us to do a drawing of Eleven and Max kissing, and they wanted it to be hot. Thank you. So yes, we're here to do this drawing today. One of the things I do want to note is unfortunately I cannot read any comments or notifications during the streams. I do get the notifications. Unfortunately, right now I do not have a means to watch them as they come in live. I will be working on getting that straight so I can see it right as you guys do it. But there is a chat function if you want to enter in and interact with the video on there and leave any comments if you want. And I hope you all enjoy. And this is definitely a interesting request, I must say. And one of the first things I went ahead and did was sort of build the skeleton here for the two characters. So I wanted to get an idea of how I wanted them to be set up. And so in this case, I wanted one pressing upon the other to do sort of that passionate kiss. And it's always an interesting concept to basically take real people and bring them into a 2D illustrated world where they look like their characters and themselves in this case. So I wish I knew the names of these actresses. I honestly don't. I do watch the series, but it's been a while, of course, because it's been, gosh, 2 years since the last season release. So I am waiting for season 4. I've honestly not been spoiled, so if there have been any developments or anything coming from season 4 outside of what was done in season 3, I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. I do love the series. It is probably one of Netflix's best originals. Being a child of the 80s and 90s, it absolutely rings out to me because of this, both the setting, the nostalgia, and even giving that sort of feel of Goonies meets a horror movie, but a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons thrown in there. So right now, one of the things I'm just doing is trying to get the sketch out so I can work from there of how I want them to be. And I'm just going to do sort of a bare bones how I want their bodies to be. And in this case, I want 11 to be the shorter one in this one. I'm not sure if their heights are actually equal, if they're taller. I absolutely probably should have looked that up, but in this case, because Max in the show is a lot more boyish, a lot more tomboyish, I'm giving her the treatment that she is going to be the more aggressive, the more male end of this grouping. It's just male in the sense of you have the more aggressive male end of things and the more submissive female end of things. And in a kiss, you're always going to have sort of that fighting play of one's the aggressor, one's the seducer. And they're always going to be a mix. You can switch one from one end to the other. And when you see it in the film, you see it in television, you see them sort of flip around between who's in control. And it literally is, they'll play it off as a concept of fighting control. When you actually have relationships, I mean, it depends on your individual personalities. So, and the outfits I'm going with are the ones I pulled up from the Stranger Things images. So I believe they're all season 3 artwork and images to work from. And I'm just sort of laying out the look of how I want this to go. I, of course, want to say I enjoyed, one of the things I did enjoy with the series season 3 was adding Max. Max was a nice add-on. Basically, it quit making 11 sort of the only female for the younger boys to deal with. Of course, we have the older females with Nancy and I honestly forget the girl that could speak Russian. I forget her name. But the one that hooked up with Steve, and Steve got ditched in the end of that season. So, spoilers if you haven't watched season 3. Poor Steve. Hopefully he'll get somebody. You'll kind of feel for the dude. Hopefully he'll get somebody. Where would I like to see the show go? Honestly, I do want to see them mature, grow up. So I'm kind of glad that they're taking some time off, and time for the children to grow into teenagers. But I actually wanted, and I hope that the series goes outside of the town. The idea of it just being centralized in the town, I get it. It's cheesy, it's corny, but you want the threat to be of the other side to be worldwide, and we kind of got that a little bit with the Russians, but we still kept it in the town. So we kind of, throughout the last season, we got the feeling it was outside of the U.S., but no, it was all still in the town. And have this huge Russian influence during the heat of the Cold War is kind of interesting. But I am curious as to how things were left off. I loved the relationship between the sheriff and 11, basically the father-daughter relationship there, where both of them kind of needed each other. And sadly, this is going really into spoilers, the ending, possibly in losing of the sheriff. And there's rumors he's back. I don't know. It's the only rumor I heard, but that was, basically rumors from the end of the last season. And that's sort of when I was watching the shows and reviews of the season, right as I was watching the season myself. It is a bingeable series. If you've not gotten into Stranger Things, I will warn you, this is a series that you absolutely will likely binge. And that will basically, it will tug at your heartstrings in ways not romantically, but sort of the only way I can describe it is 80s movie. It's the only way I can describe it. That 80s movie kind of concept where you just want to be like, yeah, you, you know, that really good sort of the Goonies kind of concept at the end of the movie of Goonies, where they sure everything looked down, they're not getting completely well off, and then they find, that just that right moment, that key moment to save the day. And you get the drama of the personalities, you get the relationships, and you definitely get that from the series. I mean, this is very much a modern day version of Goonies. If there were a remake of Goonies, I don't think there needs to be. But if there were, honestly, it just slap it down and call it Stranger Things, because honestly, that's what it is. Now, let's see here. As you can see, I've already started with the pen tool to try and bring out some of the drawing. And the key here is going to be basically how to make this work. And that is going to be in my skills as an artist to try and bring these characters to life in 2D. And it's a challenge. Whenever you're doing anything with real real people versus a cartoon, you're using real images, you're using their likeness, and you're putting it to paper, you're drawing it out. So, since she's got a little thin but a lighter toned eyebrow, I'm going to give her that. And we, of course, will give her her earring. Oh, come on. Do a better job than that. And bring that on down. And how is I keep wanting to look at Max here and see how she likes to cover her ears with her wavy hair. So let's do a little bit of the wavy hair. And let's bring that on over. And let's see here. I gotta say, this is the kind of hair that I have that is a real pain in the ass to ever get neat, and that is a natural curl. And honestly, if it weren't for scrunchies, I don't think I could ever get my hair to work in the morning. So she's got a bit of a high ponytail. We're going to erase some lines here. Now, I can say as a 90s kid, I did not get the whole concept of the suspenders. I had some suspenders, but I had them as a joke. Um, I don't think, hell, I don't know anybody who wore suspenders, honestly. Um, Outside of maybe Larry King on television. I think he was the only person I've ever seen wear suspenders, honestly. All right, I'm going to actually sketch out the hand. So we're going to sketch it out because it's a little hard to draw it properly. So we're going to sketch out fingers, to the hand, to the arm. And as I've stated before in some of these, when doing hands, it's very important to look at your own hand, but it's also a lot of people are frightened about it. You just want a relaxed sort of feel with the hand. You don't want to, unless you're doing something like a fist or something dramatic with the hands, you're kind of just going to want something relaxed and toned down. You don't need to go all that grand with it. I definitely need to rework that. Let's see here. I got to work out where her hip's going to be. And I think that's the key. Here. Okay. So 11 has these pants that make her hips go out. So we're definitely going to let these jeans sort of go out hip-wise. And then give Max a chance to go through with the hand. Like that. And we're going to clean up some of the scrunchie here. And I'm actually going to fade, not that one, fade the character in the background so I can see a little bit better. And so you can see a little bit better as we bring this through. So we're going to work the hair a bit more. See, this is an area that most people ignore when they're creating a character or drawing a character. You want, when you're doing a character in a drawing, You want that character to have personality. The hair is one of the biggest places for personality, especially on girls. One of the things I really dislike with American comics is usually they just go with standard hairstyles, just like a straight flat, and you almost see a uniform hairstyle from character to character to character. It's almost cookie cutter. And it's not. I mean, real life, we're not. I mean, you could look at 15 to 20 different people, and each one's going to have a different look to their hair. Each one's going to have a different way they walk. Each one will have a little bit different way their nose curls, the way their eyes move. It's important when doing and designing a character to know what you want in that look to bring it out. So, I mean, in a way, while these are stylized to look a certain way from Hollywood, their hair still is their hair. They still have characteristics to what their hair is and how it moves and how it looks. It's their personality literally on their head. So it's a face within a face. And that's one of the key things to pretty much anything. When you design and be creative, you want personality to shine. So, in a way, with season 3 of Stranger Things, we got very much 11 becoming more of a person. In season 1, she had almost no personality. She was strictly this cold, unknown person, and she didn't get to grow and be her own self. But by season 3, she's adapted to the world. She's become more of a person herself. Let's bring this sleeve around. And another concept of personality is the way someone dresses. Um, one person will dress one way, and that sort of brings out their personality, unless you're wearing sort of a uniform. And even with uniforms, if you're going to be drawing something like a school uniform, uh, the way that uniform is put on and worn by that character is sort of shows their personality. There may be accessories they put out on there. There may be a type of shirt or something that brings out a personality to them. So, do I sound hesitant about this particular drawing? Not really. I'm all for a girl on girl kiss. That's fine. My issue that I kind of have with this is, yeah, it is on the grounds of shipping, and I don't really go into the shipping concepts that most people do. Each person their own gets their choices, but I mean, we sort of saw that 11 and Mike scenario that we had in this throughout the series, the where they have their on and on again and off again relationship, and where they kind of finally figured things out. Well, in a sense, figured things out by the end of this season, only to have it sort of torn away from them. But such is the way of TV drama. What would I like to see them face in? Well, I mean, we've seen them face a Demogorgon. We've seen them face the Mind Flayers. I honestly don't know what they called the villain of season 3. Um, I honestly would like to see some new creatures from the upside world or the upside down. I'd like to see that there's, and we already know that there's this alien type life in this world. I'd like to see them almost mimics would be a great one to see. Although we've kind of seen it, but I mean, the idea of you can't trust the people in front of you would be a great concept with a mimic. Um, and that's very much a D&D character. Very much something that you fits into this kind of world where it be creepy and conceptual. Oozes is another one. Just the concept of something oozing out into the streets. Ugh. I mean, the Blob was silly and cheesy. I get it. It was a bad B rated horror movie series, but it can be done right. Uh, I mean, in a way, we're kind of getting Stranger Things 4 in the new Ghostbusters film. Very much so, with some of the cast being in the new Ghostbusters film. Um, I would like to see them play into this D&D element, world element. Let's bring those in, bring those concepts in. Uh, let's see here. We're going to put in back pocket. Do I like sort of the horror, 80s horror type things? Because it also had the series also has a feeling of it. I honestly, and I've said this before, I don't care for Stephen King. Um, I feel most of his work is kind of meh. He does a great job writing the horror and then a horrible job ending the book. Um, and that's usually the case. He gets you there and then he drops the ball. And the things I do credit Stephen King with is his short stories. They tend to be much better. Because you gotta make the punch and the ending hit a lot more. And one of my favorite ones from Stephen King that I don't think I've ever seen done right was a Stephen King short story called Gray Matter. And they've touched upon it before in some, I forget the name of that show that they did with Stephen King shorts a few years ago. But they did do that story, but I watched it. I don't feel they did it justice. Uh, from the book. Basically, the story, and this is why I put it in this with this stream. It's about a dad who's a bum. And I mean a bum in the sense that he sits at home in the dark drinking beer all the time. And his son just keeps waiting for his dad to do something, waiting for his dad to be something, make something of himself. And he never does. And he ends up becoming this amorphized mushroom blob by the end. And it's both horrifying in a body horror concept and at the same time realist, because we all have that moment of where we're just at home and we don't want to do anything. We just want to lay about and be lazy and feel nothing, just numb ourselves to the world. And that's very much what the dad did in that story. And that was a great story. I love the Stephen King short stories. Stephen King, his long stories. I have a friend who loves the Dark Towers over and over again, to the point that he, in role playing games, whenever he runs, will usually go into a Dark Tower world. It's an okay concept. I liked The Stand. I feel that probably was his best sort of long story, because it did kind of have an end, but it didn't at the same time. And that was Stephen King trying to, in a way, make fun of religion. And at the same time, he made the ultimate religion series. It was a good tale of good and evil. And, like, for better or for worse, it worked. I am not interested in watching the new version of The Stand. I know it's out on, it was CBS All Access. Now I guess it's Paramount Plus. I have no interest in it, and I don't know if anybody else has watched it. Let me know. Was it any good? Was it better than the original series they did back in the 90s? That was pretty good. There were some crappy moments, but I mean, it still pretty much held together for a miniseries. And it's something we don't really see much these days. It's really strange, considering the day of streaming, stuff like Netflix, with Stranger Things. I mean, why don't we have more miniseries these days? Why don't we just have a series that comes out, no concept of bringing it back for another season? It just tells a complete story. I'm sure there's a ton of stories out there, novels from the past or novels from the current times, that could be just told in a single season of a show. And it'd be far more creative than some of the stuff we get out there. I'd love to see that kind of thing. That's, I think, why I liked Stranger Things, is I felt it was something new and enjoyable versus the same old that we got from television, that we got from movies. And sadly, I look at what's coming out, and I don't know. I don't feel like people are really being creative. I don't feel like Hollywood's giving it a real go these days. I feel like they're just being safe, what they think is safe, and it doesn't work, and it shows. Honestly, you don't have the audiences anymore, especially since the theaters shut down, and now that they're coming back. I've heard people still aren't going to the theaters. They're not living outside of the television because we've come to the concept now where we can get it. We can get the shows, we can get the movies. We don't have to go and spend $40 on a movie ticket when we can already be paying for the streaming service. We don't have to wait weeks out for something that's going to be mediocre uh, and just like it that way. I mean, my God, I mean, it's part of the reason why I feel some of the franchises right now aren't working. Uh, I mean, Marvel's working, but DC isn't. I mean, when have you seen a DC film that really is innovative outside of Captain Marvel or the first Wonder Woman movie? I mean, I'll even give you the Aquaman movie. I don't see them being that innovative. I see them playing it safe, playing the concepts of, well, this is something that we know audience would come for. We know that they'll enjoy this concept. Get away from the safeness. Take some risks. Do something creative. Bring out some actual writers. Do something that's other than a rewrite or a continuation of. With comic books these days, make a new character. And I don't mean a copy of some characters. I don't mean oh, they're taking the mantle of this character. Make a new character. Bring to life somebody new. Make us believe in love why this character is. You can do it. It can be done. It's being done outside the US. So there's no reason why creatively we can't be doing it here. Other than we just want to play it safe. Don't play it safe. Play it with some gusto. Play it with some creativity. Find something and bring that out, and you will see success. I think that's why The Mandalorian works so well as a TV show. I find that's why Stranger Things works well, because those shows bring out something that we really wanted to see. It brings out characters, it brings out stories that we didn't get to see in through the stories in television that just constantly repeat. My God, if some mediocre comedy goes away, I don't care. I mean, most of these comedies I'll watch a comedy show, I'll laugh once. You might have a good joke in there, but you gotta be funny for a comedy. I mean, I'll give you, you can have heartwarming, you can have charming, you can have those elements in a comedy, but you can't do that well. In a drama, don't make it all about teenage angst. Honestly, it's not, the world does not revolve around teenage angst, all right? Let's drop the Riverdales, hell, anything on the CW. I mean, there were shows that I loved on the CW, but they suck when they go into the teenage drama angst. And it just needs to stop. Bring us charm, bring us comedy, bring us stuff that we want to see in our programs. And then we get stuff like this request where someone wants something to see, from something that they love. Bring out those elements of charm and delight and bring that to the audience. I know I'm preaching on this one. I really am. This is supposed to be basically a nice little short, sweet one, and it's coming to a bit of a preach about the way that television movies are. But that's what we get. Let's use some actual colors off of them. So this is going to be a challenge. Let's see here. That's a good tone for her. Whoop. And I'm on the wrong panel. Wrong layer, wrong layer. All right, bring that back. And we didn't do the hair properly. All right. Let's bring the hair. And my God, she even has my hair color. All right, let's see here. Let's actually. Bring the hair out a bit. And since we're doing this here, we're going to do streak. Ah, daggum. Bring that out. There we go. I remember these jelly bracelets like crazy that she's got on. It was more of a early 90s thing. I can't explain it. I remember using them for keychains as well as, and they were horrible keychains. They're horrible for keychains because they break almost all the time, and you'll lose your keys once you have them on there. They'll last for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then you'll need to get a new one. But it was a jelly bracelet, and that's what came about. It's fashion of the 90s, fashion of the 80s, boys and girls. And it was dumb. And I can say that because I lived it. It was dumb. So let's bring our light here. Now I'm trying to be fair with the actresses and trying giving them a little bit of tone and whatnot to how they look. so it looks more realistic. Here. Um, a little too much. Let's see. Nope. All right, I'm missing something here. Characters I'd like to see come back in this series. Barbara. I'd like to see what happened to Barbara. I don't know. Did we see Barbara? Did we see her skeleton or something? I don't recall. Um, yeah, I was in that crowd of like, what happened to Barbara? We just kind of left her there. Well, maybe I don't know if we remember if we saw her skeleton or not. It would make sense. She's dead, but I'd like to see her come back. Maybe it's the mimic. Honestly, maybe it's the mimic. Um, I'd like to see. Well, I see Sean Astin's character. I'd like him to come back, but I don't want him to come back because he died in a good way. He was a hero to the end, and you gotta love the man for it. I mean, love or hate the actor. I mean, I know I mean, we talked about Goonies. I love Sean Astin's work. Um, I mean, of course, he was Sam Gamwise in Lord of the Rings. I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, he's got some good roles under his belt. Uh, and I mean, I loved his character. I mean, at first you were like, "Oh, well, is this going to be the um, is this going to be the concept where he's like the vampire lord concept?" No, and they played on that fear a bit. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, the '80s movie that I'm sort of referencing here, but it's escaping my mind. Uh, God, I'm horrible at movies. I really am. Yes, one of my biggest faults. I don't recall movies that well. So if you're asking, well, or if you're screaming like, "What's this movie? Is this movie?" I don't remember. I honestly don't remember the titles. Um, I just remember how cheesy they are and how bad some of them are. Um, and honestly, I didn't even rewatch Stranger Things to do this drawing. I haven't seen it since, like I said, since the last season dropped, and I think I watched all of that season in a night. So, and it probably was the night it released. So I mean, I probably binged it in one night, and was like, "Cool, this is really cool," and I hadn't gone back to it. I'm sorry, I know some people watch this stuff over and over again. They live it. I watch it once. I'm like, cool. If I really, really love it, I might go back for a second time. All right, so she's got these black, grayish metal to these. Uh, Come on. Okay, yeah. And then she's got the dark mom blue jeans. We'll do the loud shirt last. Um, since we go on it, touched a little bit on D&D. Yes, I am a D&D fanatic. I've played D&D for, gosh, 30 years of my life, probably more. Um, and I mean, we do play Pathfinder these days. Unfortunately, I don't like the direction that D&D went after 3.5. Um, I feel it went away from being creative with your character design to being more about telling the story, which I'm fine with, but it's too easy. I mean, it's an easy concept of gameplay. Half the fun was creating characters and having personality to your character and coming up with this is your character. Now it's cut and dry of this is a healer, elf, blah blah blah. And I don't feel sort of the relationship of the game as it used to be, um, the love of the game as it used to be. I'm interesting. I know TSR, who was behind D&D's first and second editions. So they are the original creators of D&D. Of course, Gary Gygax being the original creator, who had since passed on. I know they're working on something, but I know that it's also been in legal just hell with Wizards of the Coast, because when the license was sold, it just, in my sense, it was sold with the right intentions. And 3.5, by God, was great. But after 3.5, my God, that's series has just gone downhill. And most of the people that I know that have played the series through the years have lost the love for the original, or through of not the original, but of the newer game styles. They prefer to play the original. I mean, hell, my friends and I will still drag out second edition. We'll still drag out a third 3.5 edition now and then. My own games rule set. I have my own system out there, and that's based off of 3.5. That version of 11 kind of looks like Michael Sierra to me from Arrested Development. Is that how you say his name? Michael Sierra? I don't know. I get vibes of him off of that look. If you think I'm wrong, shout out me. Have at it. I have no problem. And I'm going to put out the same sort of offer that I put out last time. I don't know if people heard me on that live stream that we did Friday. That if people want me to take up a challenge for sponsorship, if I hit 100, and I'll put this out on both Facebook or YouTube because this gets streams to both. If I hit 100 sponsors or followers on either one of those for the Embryo Arts websites or sites on either one, I will force myself through every episode of Redo of a Healer. I don't want to watch that anime, but for 100 subscribers, I will force myself through that series and I will review each and every episode during each live stream. I will give you my full input on how I feel the show went, where the show went, where it did things right, where it does things completely wrong, and from the reviews and from what I've seen of the series, there's a lot it did completely wrong. So I've got that challenge out there. If you want to see me torture myself watching a series, I mean, hell, I'll watch X-Arm, which was a horrible anime. I will watch that before I watch Redo of a Healer on my own. Because I have. I have yet to watch Redo of a Healer, and I've watched one episode of X-Arm. I saw how bad it was, and I said it was crap. And I can't vouch for the comic it's based off of. I know it's on uh, Webtoons. I also am on Webtoons. My own comic series is on Webtoons. X-Arm, it looked like a great concept, but a very, very poor execution um, for a series. And I kind of feel that way for almost all of Crunchyroll's originals. Um, I know some people love some of the series, but I have yet to see a Crunchyroll original that I feel stands up to any anime out there. And I mean even the bad anime. I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't watched Redo of a Healer. It may feel like, well, Crunchyroll originals are better. I might be that way. We shall see. Okay. I'm going to give her a lighter jean tone. Since I don't have the jeans available. And we need to do a splatter on this shirt. And for that, I have brushes. Always lovely to have brushes. I mean, if you are an artist with a tool, if you're doing it regularly, using tools and traditional means, you would have different brushes for different tones or different section things that you did. Such is the case also with doing art in this sense. We're going to have different effects, different tones, so we want to do some texturing, so we want some splattering of color. So I'm just trying to find a good brush that I feel will incorporate that. So looking through my patterns, looking through, all these different brushes. Just to find one that I feel will work. And you know what? We're going to go with, let's see if I can't do something with, see, blue on there, a little bit of purple there, or we'll do blue, blue. So we're just going to, back here, we're going to just sporadically, because there's no rhyme or reason, it's sort of a Jackson Pollock shirt. Switch it up to pink, pink. And let's add some color and texture into the jeans. See if I can find a lighter tone. Come on. Get one, and as soon as I get one, I move my tool away from it. All right, I think we've got one. Okay, since we're adding a little 3D element. Yeah, actually, this is a darker tone. See, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to get sometimes what you're looking for. This is a bit of a darker tone, and unfortunately, it's so close, the tolerance needs to be lowered. There we go. And in order to get a slightly lighter, we're gonna do our color palette. All right, come on. There we go. Add another section here. Make that dark. And then I'm going to add a texture to it. Adding texture, all it really sort of does is bring sort of a feel to the drawing. So textures are simple overlay. Being denim, you want sort of this coarse, rough feel to it, so it almost gives it a little bit of a hint of that sense. Now let's focus a little bit on Max here. She has a bit of a gloss in her hair, just a little bit. So let's see if we can get a light gloss here. Here we go. There we go. See, that comes out darker. So let's do it this way. We're going to go in here, select lighten that tone, and it's still coming out darker. Why am I coming out darker? Because I'm on a different layer. That's why I'm coming out darker. There we go. Don't be on the texture layer. That's our problem. So we're adding that gloss. Her, unfortunately, her clothing kind of has this soft. So what I'm gonna probably to deal with her sweatshirt, I think I'm going to visit our friend from the live stream we did on Friday, the blending tool. The blending tool is a wonderful tool, especially when you want to get sort of these softer materials in a drawing. These softer tones, like this is definitely a fleece sweatshirt. I happen to love fleece sweatshirts myself. I may have one or two of them. They're absolutely to die for, comfortable wise. And as far as tone, they really don't. It's a very, very faint to light tone where it switches. So from light to shadow, it's going to have a very faint degree. So we want to bring the blending tool on out. And we're going to just faintly blend the two in. Just get rid of any harsh lines. Faintly bring it in. I want to kind of avoid the black because it's going to give me a black splotch in the in the softening of the tone, so the material. Just want to kind of give it a soft tone so that while Max is in charge, leading the charge on the kiss, she's having these soft tones in her outfit. And we definitely need to give her some shadow, more shadow on her face, but we need to. She is a redhead, so we need to lighten up the color. So let's do. The shadow shouldn't be that harsh. So let's see here. Let's do that. Redheads, of course, being from far more fair skinned. Often they have a little harder shadow tone to deal with. And they sometimes have something that I have to add to Max, because she certainly does, and that is some freckles. But first, let's get the rest of her face done. There we go. Soften the tone. Get back with the light. We're going to go back with a little bit of a soft airbrush just to bring in the brighter yellow again with that soft tone. And doing it with the soft means it's not going to mess up or blend too much. It's going to bring out that yellow. Let's try and make it so the lips look more realistic. Let's add a soft tone on the face, soft shadow. Am I a big fan of this drawing? I feel I could do better. I honestly do. But this is, it's part of a challenge. I know I can do better than this. I've been doing better than this today. Unfortunately, I don't want to show what I've been doing today, simply because it's going to be coming out later. And it's kind of eventful moments, especially in my comic Demon Blade. It's eventful moments for the last three chapters of the book is finally coming to play. It's coming to its conclusion, and I don't want to spoil. It's been a story element that brings an interesting twist to it all. All right. I think we are done as best as I'm probably going to be. This gave us about an hour and almost 15 minutes of putting this together. I mean, it works. It works for what the request was. Like I said, I'm not 100% with it. Probably not, still not feeling all that great, so maybe it comes out of a bit. Next week, though, I have a original character drawing. So we're going to go back to what we did the first stream. We're going to be doing original character request. And so we'll be seeing you with that. But before we go, I want to thank my sponsor, Built Bar. Built Bar is by far one of the best options out there for if you are a person that has a sweet tooth like myself, that or you out there trying to diet, you have tried protein bars, you don't like the taste, you don't like the texture, this is the option. Built Bar is low calorie, low carb, low sugar, high protein, keto friendly, and they focus on taste first, and that is the key. They have so many flavors. In fact, for today for lunch, I had a cookies and cream. I swear, I had an Oreo later after dinner today. They taste the same. They're that good. The only difference between the Oreo and the bar that I had today was the cookie. That cookie crunch is not in the Built Bar. That's the key difference, but the flavor is spot on. So if you like to have yourself a nice sweet treat, you're looking to curb your diet a bit, you're looking to deal with or have a sugary substitute because you're trying to avoid too much sugar in your diet, then by all means try a Built Bar. These are wonderful. And if you're looking to have it, I misspelled built.com, I noticed right here. Let's fix that right away. If you're looking to do it, go to built.com and use the promo code EmbriaArts, and you will get 10% off your entire order. They not just have bars, they also have broth. They have this wonderful immune system drink that is just a powder you add to water. It's 0 calories. and it brings out the flavor, and it has wonderful concepts of vitamins B, C, and they help you out. When you're feeling bad, drink some. I haven't had any in a while, and that's probably why I'm feeling like crap today. So, I will see you next week. I want to thank again Built Bar for being a sponsor today. And if you have a request, if you want to have something drawn, then by all means, leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, be it through Facebook or YouTube. I thank you all, and I look forward to sharing the next Dining and Doodles with you all next week.